I don't believe I'm live because sometimes there's been times where I've said, there we go. Good
You're like,
morning. I'm higher vibrations and so are you. And Carmen, I see you in the audience. So we put you up. Cherokee even said, I hope that Carmen's first when I come on. And so we put his comment up. We love you, Carmen. Today, I'm been given the wonderful privilege to invite in conversation the lovely Cherokee. Cherokee is a beautiful sister. She's been through a lot of experiences similar to many of you. Hasn't chosen to step forward and really talk about these things on camera before.
right.
And
And my
today's the
name is
first
just
time.
Cherokee, not
Welcome.
Cherokee.
Technology. Oh my gosh. Whole nother topic.
Right.
So how are you
Yeah.
today?
I am. Oh, the energies are big today. I
Yes.
don't know. Well, you're on Magic Mountain, so you get cleared like often.
Yeah, I
I
do.
have to go get Reiki and balance on my tree and ground on my tree, and I have a grounding mat for when I can't get outside. Like, oh, I do all the. I cannot stay out the bathtub, but the energies right now are huge. I even
Yeah.
fell over today, and I don't fall over. I say, oh wow, okay. I just came from Reiki right now.
Wow.
So, yeah, I do it. I know it sounds excessive, but I go every week. But
That's
that's
awesome.
because I feel like I'm such a energetic filter. I need to be like recalibrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Today she got the boot. Sometimes like spirit steps in and
Uh-huh.
like will kick her out. I can feel like boom, and like it's different. Even she was like, "Yeah, you were snoring today." I was like, "Yeah." She's so big. She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Hold it, blast you out the
That's I'm glad that you do that. So, that's an interesting point. Where did you discover how did you discover, Reiki? And is this something that you've been doing for very long or
Well, I've been on this path and didn't even know. I've been subconsciously doing things that I didn't know I needed to do. So
Yeah.
I've been getting prepared all this time. I've been doing Reiki for a long time. But after I had my big awakening last March, I like started getting heavier and heavier into what I used to do as far as mentally. I needed
Yeah.
to get back to that place. And that was my whole mindset needed to be different. Because I told you once, like last time, that it was my mother passed away. Well, my sister, and then 6 months later, my mom. My son has autism. I have ataxia and this vessel. So it's just like thing after thing after thing after thing. And you and Guardian were talking about he was saying how his life force, he felt like his life force was, I was
Yeah.
like, that was me. And
Yeah.
that's how I ended up getting back into Reiki and all the things I do. Now look, clearly,
You're
and it's like,
you're
yeah.
feeling like your life force but I didn't even say it correctly. Your life force was draining from you is was the
Yes,
example he was making, right?
totally. That's how I felt. And that's how everything came back into play because I got a visitation. It was like, it took me whew, hours after it happened because I got this visitation in my room. Like, it felt like a ceremony.
Yeah.
And there's like a bing at my head, holding my head. There was a bing at my side. My whole room, it felt like it was a bunch of just like, what's going on? I didn't look because I didn't want to stop the experience. So I
Uh-huh.
just like let it happen. I wasn't afraid, but I heard so much. It felt like you know how like if you go to the nail shop and they're speaking another language, but you
Oh.
know they're talking. So
Mm.
like I heard so much, but I didn't know what they were saying. But now I know it's light language. They were speaking to each other. It felt like one was like a spell, like I don't know, it was probably a spell. They're just my words. It felt like a spell,
Uh-huh.
and the other one was sounded like it was explaining. It felt like I got the impression that the one on my side was explaining to the other ones what was going on. but it was like being able to hear everybody at the same time
Yeah.
and different at the same time. And now I understand, like, that's how unity consciousness works.
Yeah.
Because I could hear everything. It sounded like everybody talked and then separate at the same time. Now I get it. But it took me a year to get it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was unity consciousness. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. So that's probably how I'll end up communicating with my son, huh?
Yes. Yes, this way of speaking telepathy is it makes the most sense. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's so many the spoken and written word are wrought with barriers, limitation, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and at any moment, you know, there's different varieties of dictionaries, like urban dictionary as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually it's useful to having this dictionary. What I'm showing is how many different uses for the same word, and it's
Right.
depending on what dictionary the person's coming from. So
Mm-hmm.
it's made it even more limiting. And so the words that we use are in this way already, but then they also take so much time. And the
And
way that
that's why I
we
have to like
practice,
think about like there's like so many different ways to say the same thing
yeah,
because of people's interpretations.
yeah,
So that's what like you have to like keep listening and listening and listening till you get it
yeah,
because of somebody may explain it in a different word or different patterns that you understand. So yeah.
yeah.
But I'm glad I found you because I understand what you say. I'm like, oh, perfect. Archangel Michael led me to you.
I'm really happy to hear that you're able to. I've loved every interaction that we've had together. Like, I every time that we have conversation, I feel uplifted, you know, and I just love the
I was
love.
like trying not to giggle the whole time. I was like, that's the fairy in me. Just giggling, giggling. I was like, I hope I don't laugh and giggle the whole time
It's
I'm
okay,
talking
laugh.
to.
Laughing's awesome.
It is. I
Yeah,
love to laugh. It's like the best thing. Like the best medicine is to just laugh and laugh and laugh.
right. And most of these really super wise, ancient, you would call beings that come in are very childlike in this way. They're very
Really?
like, yeah, this one energy that started to come through a while ago. I will never forget her because she came in with such poise, and it
Mm-hmm.
just she would you would I interpreted her as very proper, you know, and she was a large blue being, and she was teaching, and she was kind of like teaching the teachers is kind of what it felt like. What was funny about it was every once in a while she'd throw a swear word in there here and there, and she would only do it because she saw how everyone would react to
And
it.
break the oh,
Yeah, she said, "It's so funny. It's
it
so
must be
funny how
you
you all
must be somebody
squirm.
back.
Look at you squirm," she would say sometimes even, just like, it was funny to her that a simple word that some random person somewhere along the way assigned as a bad one, and, you
Right.
know, and so when it's said, everyone squirms, even those who speak those words.
That's why kids like to say fart because it makes people laugh.
Yeah.
You're like, don't say that. You're like, fart.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the most healing thing that we can do. Um, in if or let me actually I was gonna say it, I don't know how to word it. Crying and
Mm-hmm.
laughing are very similar. Crying is a deeper,
Mm-hmm.
more lasting healing, though laughter could also be seen as like um what's the right word, doing this ahead of time in order to have to not deal with what would be then healed later on. There are
It's called a
actually
prequel to healing.
right, right, it's a countermeasures or something like this, but this is fun about this though is that um this is an ancient practice called laughing yoga, and it started there's
Oh,
an
see,
old
I'm a
story about
master.
what was that.
I'm a master. I didn't even know it.
Yes. We bring in the laughter. The 3 monks would come into town and not say a word, and one would start to laugh. and then the other would, and the other. And, walking into a room, having no idea why people are laughing, how impossible it is to not join in some
Right.
way.
Oh, I
Before
get
you
it.
know it, everybody's laughing for around an hour. And you can still go to these groups. They still have them. It's called laughing yoga. And you just laugh for an hour and your health improves overnight. Like you're more able to access these joy energies, and
Hey, I
we're
say
the
we can do it.
we're called the spirits of play, Cherokee. I asked last night. We're the
Really?
spirits of play. But the spirit's not the right word. That I struggled with that for a while because there was like spirit, energy, essence. There was all these words that didn't fit exactly,
You're like,
but
hmm, we are
play.
energies.
And it doesn't really, matter. It's just that that's what we are. So if we're play, whatever energy word it's supposed to be, play is the answer. What is play? It is doing in action, enjoy. It's
I like to play.
yeah.
That's fun. Wow. I'd rather be like a laughing monk. Yeah, you said monk, huh? We could
Yeah.
be laughing monks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's
very,
perfect.
very helpful. So I would like to ask you a question, and I was wondering. So how old is your son? First of all, can I ask you how
He's
old your son?
5.
He's 5 years old,
Yeah, he's a sneak attack.
and he's a little starseed guy.
Yes, he sure is. He is a starseed, of course, because of me, and he's a very powerful starseed at that. I'm like, oh, speaking of that, he got Maddie a sticker for her iPad.
Oh, thank you.
Remember I was telling you about that?
Yeah.
And then the next day I got 2 in the mail.
Huh.
I was like, Yoshi, he does it all the time.
What
He
is it
like
that he does?
Amazon comes and it's like, really, really, like it'll be like a month away for his delivery. And I tell him, well, you want your coconut water, you better get on that. I'll pick him up from school, check the update. It'll be there in the morning. You're like, really? It's
Wow.
like him and Amazon. So I know he heard our conversation. We know he was here.
Uh,
So and we were talking about the EMF blockers for the iPads or the tablets. His can mail. I was like, there's 2. Clearly, he wants me to send one to his
Oh
fellow
wow,
stars.
that's so
I was like,
cool.
okay, Yoshi, I'll get her after and send it to you.
Thank you very much. That's very kind, and thank
Of
you to
course,
Yoshi.
of course.
The uh, the power of these little people, like the little people, are the words that I don't. It's just a loving word that I use for
Yeah,
the
they are
children in my
little.
life.
They
You
are
know,
little people.
yeah, and they're very wise. There's another race of Pleiadians that were initially the ones that came in to help me as a younger person, and I mistranslated them as children. Their height and their way was
Mhm.
very childlike, though it's very wise and ancient. This group of individuals have a very long lifetime, and they are so wise that the wisest ones are the most playful. They're like, and they talk so fast, and they're just so happy to be here, and you're just so fun. And guess what? Oh, look at
You
that!
have
And
them.
you're like, what were we supposed to talk about something? Wasn't there a very specific reason you had me come here? Like it's fun though. It's fun, and you have fun. It's just that things take a
Hit
lot
the
longer.
like us. So it says hit the like, guys. Speaking
Yeah,
Vixen.
thank you, Vegan Vixen.
That's funny.
And the laughing yoga is a real thing. It is really wonderful. I started to do it at one point, and when we're in this place where we need to cry, you know when you need to cry,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not we'll admit it sometimes. If you can't get the crying to come out, then I
Yeah.
find that laughter brings it to us, and so like I'll go and watch a funny movie or something, and the cheers will come with this laughter, and sometimes it could then become crying as well, crying in joy, and or whatever emotions coming through. This is so healing. the the science that backs these laughing yoga retreats and stuff is phenomenal. People with like all kinds of health difficulties, circulation, blood problems, stroke stuff, all kinds of things, like, and then they would do these laughing yoga things where they would join in these sessions at least 2 or 3 times before they'd go and get tested again, and their health had improved substantially. The doctors want to know what they
Wow.
were doing because it's working.
Laughing.
Yeah, that's it.
Then I'll probably live forever.
Yeah, to laugh, just laugh,
All I do
and to
is
laugh at
laugh.
yourself, not in a mocking way, but we're funny. Like
I
we're
laugh at myself. I fell in the bushes at Whole Foods. I was cracking up because I was like, "Ooh, if somebody can go viral," because I fell over. It was one of those big days, and I just kaput in the bushes. I jumped up. Okay, but I was like, "See, I laughed it off." I go, "Oh, what was me? Pity party." I'm gonna do pity parties.
yeah,
No,
and there's no point.
it's
We've
not
forgotten why it even matters, those types of pity things that after a
right.
while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Forget about it. It's more fun to laugh.
So, how did you find out? Like, what were you already in an awakening experience before you started to notice some of your
No,
son's gifts, or how did that work?
no. I was jokingly all the time saying, Yoshi's magical. He did it. He did it. And then after I had the awakening, I was like, oh, he really is. Oh, he really. Then that's how I found out about him. It's
Yeah.
because of after I had my awakening and really started to like learn everything and do everything. Then I was like, Then I got my own reading done. And then I was like, well, that's pretty awesome and excellent. Do you do kids? So then I had his done. I was like, it was such a confirmation on a lot of things I already knew, plus some new things. So I was like, oh, wow, Yoshi's pretty awesome. That
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, he's like, he doesn't like, he's very particular on who he must be around
Yeah.
because some people don't understand him.
Yeah.
And I can tell, like, even like going to school, like my family, oh, does he like school? I wouldn't say he likes school. He puts up with going to school. He would rather, oh, he was so happy on break because he got to stay home, sleep when you want to. It was just like we're going through ascension. So is he.
Yes.
I want to sleep in. So he's like, he had a rough night. Some nights he doesn't sleep. So it's like overlapping to where in our 3D reality is considered autism symptoms, but that's not some of the things that he's going through are not, you cannot put that label on it. It's more of a
Yeah.
Starseed symptom. Even his
Yeah.
rash he had, I'm like, how can you explain that to, you can't.
Yeah.
I knew what it was, He's, and being that he has no filter and everybody's stressing about it, he's taking out everybody's stress. I'm a nurse practitioner. I would know, like, I wouldn't put him in danger at all, but I know that a certain rash, you tell people to stop the corticosteroids. Well, if you're stressing, you're releasing your own steroids. So
Yeah.
he's absorbing everybody else's stress, which is making his rash redder. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, so you guys stop jacking around my little Starseed. No wonder, like, I pick him up and it's redder. I drop him off
Yeah.
and it's like not red. But towards the end of the day, as you're accumulating everybody else's stress,
Yep.
toxicity. So
Yep. And when you're a sponge and you don't feel like you have the ability to say where you want to spend your time and sponge the energy from, it makes it very frustrating,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I felt into him too, and he has a very strong energy, your son, and like I don't mean to ask any more questions than you feel like answering. I love this relationship, that's because this is a really common story. I don't know if you know this.
I do.
This relationship of mother, child, and awakening,
Well,
you
because they
know?
picked us. I think a lot of
Mm,
the Starseeds picked us because
yeah.
we're not gonna mute them or muscle them. Like, don't say that. Who you talking to? Don't you know? It's like,
Yeah.
and our frequencies, like you say, are a certain level, so they can come to our vessels. So basically, like I said, we're tilling the land. We're getting it ready for the Starseed. We have to till
Yeah.
the land to get it ready.
That's true. I mean, I've heard examples like Elsa Dillon, hey, it's 222, brought up her example of she had gotten electrocuted right before her first child was conceived, and I might have gotten the details off a slight bit there. It might have been a little bit more longer or something, but the timing, it was clearing her vessel for these amazing star children to come through. Yeah, and I also had a profound change in mind and body right before, I became pregnant with my daughter, and we see these moments when we look back, often not realizing the how the gravity of the situation, of what it is to have that happen in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not thinking about being a mom at that time,
Right.
you know
Let
and
alone
to
to a
have,
starseed.
yeah, and to have this vessel, that you are, and then within you, this I underwent a much deeper and profound type of awakening that I had before,
Mm-hmm.
having this high frequency life inside my body, and so I'm betting that you had undergone some other, because lots of times when we declare, when we wake up, our awakening, it's often after a series of events that were also part of this awakening thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you could also say that most people are reawakening when they awaken, because
Right.
we came here awake, right?
Snooze button starseeds, like me. I'm a snooze button starseed.
Yeah.
Later. Later. Then I
Right.
was like, okay, fine, get up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, this moment when that you were referring to, though, was only what, this is 2020, 2021. I think is what you're.
No, last year, 23.
That's last year, right, and in March.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, that's what the thing I was like, "Wow, we should talk about this," because wowza,
It was
um,
big.
it was really big for everybody, and it has been every March, but what's really cool about this is, I'm gonna ask you some questions about your March,
Of course.
as I just very gently reflected on last March,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard from a bunch of different places, of different spirit places, guides and just all the same time. It was like, you think last March was
Like,
awesome,
here you go.
and I'm like,
You're like, oh, here
okay.
we go, get ready. Put your seatbelt.
Yeah. So what was your last March like?
Okay, last March, what happened last March? Okay, I had just gotten back into doing everything. So, like, meditating, and I was doing daily affirmations. I started Reiki. I was doing everything because I was trying to get back into um my mindset. Because after all that trauma happened, I was like, man, boo, it's enough. I'm sick of this. I just, ataxia runs in the family. So it's like the rare disease. I'm like, I've seen the end. I see how it progresses. You get worse. You stop walking. Stop. My family has type 7, leads to blindness and can't move. And this, like, you get to a point where it's like, basically, you're just a dog. So you're trapped inside your vessel, right? Just like my
Mhm.
sister. Everything basically, she had no functionality, but her mind was still there. So that's more of a trap, because you can't do anything. You can't pick up the phone and say, hey, so and so, nothing. So I'm like, wow. So when she passed away, it's like the whole cascade of events. And as Starseed, yeah, and we unsubconsciously pick these contracts.
Yeah.
But we all have like this. Starseeds pick the contracts. So this one, I was 20. I'm used to dealing with things and like getting over it. But at this point, it just was like a back to back to back to back to back thing, and I was just like, drain. I was just like, okay, that's enough. And then after that, I was like, that's not like me. So that's when I decided to change my ways and get back into me.
Yeah.
Fast forward to March. So that's what I was doing. I was meditating like nobody's business, like almost 3 hours a day. I was meditating. Wow. Yeah, 2 to 3 hours a day. I'd drop off Yoshi, go home and meditate. It was like I was always meditating. So I was like, have you heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to go to one of his retreats. So I was doing his meditations too. So I was like, okay, well, I was so buzzing and I was feeling like buzzy. I was like, something should happen. Nothing happens. Like, well, forget it. Well, I didn't want to get up, so I just set my timer for 20 minutes. I was like, well, I'll just lay here for 20 minutes. And as soon as I stopped drawing, that's when it happened. And I was like, at first, it was like, I had like a split second of nervousness because everything changed for me. As far as like, I was like, my room felt like it filled up with beings, and that's when there was one on my head and I can hear, and there was one on my side like I can hear, and there was beings. I was like, it sounded like my room was full of beings. It was like all this going on, and I was like, and then like just as fast as it started, it stopped, and I was like, what happened? And it took me hours to even like try and formulate what happened, what actually happened. I'm like, what happened here? I had no idea. I looked at my clock and 17 minutes had passed, but it didn't feel that way. It felt like instant, But I was like, okay, so in spirit time, it wasn't 17 minutes. But 3D time, I was like, that was 17 minutes worth of. Now I was like, first of all, who can you tell?
Yeah.
Besides nobody. So I was like, I had one person I told, my uncle. And then he probably thinks I'm wacky because I have all kind of things that happen to me. But I'm like, okay, so that was interesting. But that was like the start of it all. And then I was like a YouTube fanatic trying to find the answers and why did I feel this? Why did I feel that? Why did I feel this? Like, why am I months went by. And I was like, okay, so I got so many answers to I didn't even know what was grounding. I was like, what is grounding? Okay, what is clearing? How do you clear? How do you transmute? I was like, there were so many questions. Every time I found the answer, of course, I watched YouTube. I got to the point where like my YouTube feed was like on the list of today. Because Spirit, I guess, can like, okay, this is how we can get to her. So it'd be like uploaded 1 month ago, 111 views. You're like, that one, or like it'll be like obvious what I'm supposed to pick. And that's why I was like, okay, Archangel Michael has been like holding my hand through this whole process, because it's like channel messages answering my question like word for word that I asked. And the person usually will say his name. I was like, I'm sure I've gotten plenty of support, but he signs his work. He says his name. And that's how I found you. And I was like, okay, I've gotten all these answers, but nobody is saying why I'm buzzing at night. Why am I vibrating so hard?
Yeah.
Not fun. You said, I was crying. I was like, so it's like, oh my goodness. And you said something that you could tell when you're Mila, and you can tell when you're channeling, because you just like change. Even though
Really?
you don't say, I'm channeling now. You just, your whole thing, your conversation, everything it just changes. And you can tell. And I can tell when you went into like, I can tell it was Archangel Michael. Because it was like one other person that made me cry like that. And I'm like, he was channeling him. I'm like, oh, thank you, finally understand. But I was like, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cute. Yes.
Yeah. Here's another one too from Loki Motive says, I like your name, Loki Motive. That's fun.
That's,
Glad I'm not the only one that YouTube has helped thusly. You know,
yes.
and that's my story too. I mean, in that I've been doing this for, a little bit longer, but I still didn't know people talked about this stuff. I talked to my guides, I talked to beings, I talked to, some of my siblings. But for the most part, it just wasn't something that people knew about to talk about,
Right.
And so I would just I didn't know people talked about it until I found YouTube. And that was pretty recently. That was 2020 or yeah, 2020, the year of everybody's quiet and it was that was the year everybody went in. So you can hear everybody louder.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was funny. Everybody used to say it's so quiet. And I would be like, are you kidding me? Because if I was already doing this stuff and you're hearing everybody, and most people when they were first going into meditation, they were crying desperately, like help me kind of energy.
Right.
So I was like bombarded by
You're like,
this
stop
world
it.
of energies around me. But it was beautiful to find YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we found each other. That's how we still find each other is through
Yes.
things like this.
Yeah. And we all like, I love the fact that we're all like in a family of like all. If you're watching this video, obviously
Right.
you belong here. You're not gonna go from watching so and so to watching this. Like it has to be in the same vein, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. Okay, if I say, because I'm like a very. This is my first time on camera, so I'm like, okay, if
You're
somebody's
doing
at
great.
home feeling like me, then why not do it? Maybe I can say one thing. So I was like, yes, exactly. So that's why I said, okay, fine, I'll just do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apart from finding in how to do things in YouTube, how have you what are the tools that you thought you found to be the most useful in that early awakening stage for you? Now looking
Grounding.
back, grounding.
I love grounding now. Now that I know it is, I have a tree in my backyard. I love that tree. I just found out he's a portal, but I ground up my tree. He has huge roots, and I put my feet on his roots. And the owner told me stop watering everything. But I call him Leon. His name is Leon. He said
Leon?
that, yeah, he said the other plants need water. And who do you tell your tree talk to? I was like, well, he needs water. I was like, how can I tell somebody that my tree said they need water? I was like, well,
Yeah.
see, but grounding helps immensely. And I didn't know that it was so, even like it's been kind of wet down here in California. It doesn't rain that much. I use
Yeah.
like a grounding mat when I can't get outside, cause I basically live on that, and it's seaside bath. I live in the
Yeah.
bathtub, like I live there.
Yeah. This is a true story for everybody right now. It's crazy how many people are like,
Look,
I just
breathe.
spent, yeah, it was when I saw that, on my clock it said 2, 3, 4. It was counting, and then she talks about a lot of countdown in the same statement. I found that to be really fascinating. So when I saw that comment, my time said 2, 3, 4, like marching on. the the bathtub thing, needing to take long baths.
Mhm.
I getting lost in there.
Mhm.
I was in there, and the Mother Mary energy came through. I've been calling this energy All Mother because there's a lot more to her
Mhm.
than the singular than this that's been coming in, and I was it was she was speaking with my voice as if I'm channeling to you or
Mhm.
somebody else in a session or something, and it went on, and I'm just in my bathrobe, like sitting in the bathroom, and I guess I was in there for 2 hours. And a lot of stuff that I needed to understand came through, and I was made to be away from wherever I could document it because I needed to focus on the message
Uh-huh.
instead of trying to get the message to someone else.
Right.
And it had to do with this bath that was also an eternal bath. I was in the bathtub a long time before that even happened. Like I was gone for like half the day in the bathroom.
I know I keep like refilling it with hot water. So I'm like, it's been a long time. Okay, 10 more minutes. Okay, 10 I just like want to stay in there. Like I just stay there, keep reheating it because I'm like you. I just want to stay in there for like hours and hours, just in the
Right.
bathtub.
Especially Epsom salt, using Epsom salt or some type of salt. I've heard people using pink Himalayan salt,
Mm.
like just rock salt, and put it in there. And um, there's another thing that can be done if because of this is a colder months time of season. So those who are in colder climates, I would always bring dirt inside the house, and like I'd have like a small amount. You don't need a massive bucket, and being able just to set your foot on it, even if you need to sprinkle a little bit on a tray or a plate, you don't need that much to do it. This is grounding, and it works on your hands as well as your feet, though the pores of your feet are bigger, and so it takes half the length of time. But I gotta say, it's really fun to play in the dirt, you know? Like, just having just barely enough, maybe get a couple of those Hot Wheels, like, tractors and just play in the dirt. And while you're playing in the dirt, you're absorbing the minerals, and you're going through what we call the ionization process, and you're letting all the positively charged ions that are like the kinda energy that comes all over us, and it goes into the soil. And then we're left behind with these negatively charged ions, which are the most in alignment and harmonious. They feel better. And that in itself is like hugely helpful. I started to do this years and years ago. I used to have seasonal depression. And I was just gonna say
Yeah.
this last thing. And then anyway, so it stopped. It stopped when I started to do this with the dirt. Do you want to just talk about Paula Light? But she's just sleeping over there.
No, because Paula. She's funny. When you said dirt, I thought about her because she's like the dirt magnet. And she's like right now because her backyard is like so much dirt, but it's been raining, so it's like mud. And every time she has to go to the bathroom, I'm like, you don't have to use the bathroom, right? Because I have to clean her feet. So I guess she's helped me ground with mud because
There you go.
I
There you
have
go.
to do her feet every time she comes in. So
Yeah.
she likes to run so much speed. She's running around, run. This dog. I'm gonna send her a picture with those like 30 plus dogs in her picture, and
Yeah,
she's in the middle. She's in the middle, like hello everybody. She's
that's
funny.
awesome. It's
She
fun that
loves
we watch
that.
our animals or fur
Oh,
babies
Paula,
like spread code.
right? She's so silly. I love that Paula. She was crunching. I told her she can't be crunching on video. She was eating a bone. I was like, you can't be crunching a bone. She's like, okay, fine.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And it's play. Again, it's all about being in play. Like and when you can be in play, you can be in that place of joy, in that place of love. And then stuff doesn't infect us
Hmm.
like it used to.
Look at us. People are so sweet. I love your people.
I'm really You're doing really well being on for the first time. I'm really impressed with you. I just wanted to say that you're doing a great job. Like, you haven't froze up or anything. You're just flowing with it. It's so beautiful to watch.
That's because I'm just pretending I'm talking to you.
Well, that's what you're doing.
It's easier. I just talk to you. I
Yeah.
like to just like chat with you. It makes me happy.
Oh. Well, you have a beautiful, happy energy that comes through too. It's and people are noticing, like, there's been a lot of comments of people saying that you're on point and that they really resonate with your energy. And, Fleur de Lis had a really good question. I wonder if
Okay.
snow is grounding. Snow can be grounding.
Oh.
It can be. I find it to be grounding once it's connected to the ground. And when it's
Hmm.
coming from the sky, I don't find it to be grounding, but I do find it to be something more. And so it's also cool to like before when I was where it snow, I would be out there for the duration of the storm almost or the bulk of it at the very least. And I'd be out there shoveling. It's not that I wanted to shovel so much as that I wanted to play with it, and I would be making big hills with what I was shoveling. So then we could really play. And the snow falling on me was very cleansing. It The sound of snowflakes sounds more like children laughing than raindrops do. Like they feel more in joy. So I would say yes. And
And
for
water is conductive, and once it's on the ground and frozen, it's just frozen water. So, yeah, I would say you're right. It's grounded
right,
once it's on the ground.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's just, are you willing to stand in that?
right. Exactly.
Are you cool? Are you okay with having cold feet? And I would say
Frozen
this
feet.
this is really useful. I've seen people do this regularly, that when we lived in colder climates, people would regularly go out barefoot just for a moment and come back in and say, "Whew, I feel so rejuvenated," and like, it's like, "Yeah, I bet you do." And I'm over there with
I
my
bet
slippers
you.
on and I'm saying, "I'm good. I'm gonna just stay warm." But, and then they have annual, things, I can't remember what they're called right now, um, but they would go, every year and go swimming. They'd cut a big hole out of the ice and go
Oh,
swimming in the frigid cold water. The Eskimos or something. There's some Usually it was a large group of, like, older men past retirement age, but you'd have all kinds of people that would join,
that
and
right. That sounds like
The Polar Club, I think is what they were called, I can't remember.
that sounds like a nightmare to me. I found out I'm a solar being. That makes sense. I do not like to be cold.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it, but if you can tolerate it. What was the energy you felt today, Cherokee? Is that question
It,
from Stacy.
I don't know. I'm still not able to decipher what's what, but I can feel certain energies. So, like, excuse me, I had an Akashic Records reading done, and apparently I'm a solar being. So I begin like I get sun codes coming in. I can feel like I told you, I feel like Mother Earth has indigestion
Yeah.
because I can feel like coming out. Like it feels like it's bubbling up. Like I can feel it, and I can feel all that. So I don't know where it's coming from. If it's coming from everywhere, of like, but I can just feel like it's just a massive amount of energies. I woke up just feeling like I had a massive amount of energies going on. I don't. Maybe you can like. Did you feel anything coming into you?
Yeah, dude, and you described it well. So there's been these lurking bubbles of energy. That lurking is implies something mischievous, and it's not. It's just that, it's time. And, I noticed, a few bursting, and bursting, it sounds, again, not what you want, but it is. You want the pop to occur because it's not really a pop at all. It's just making it to the surface.
It's
It's
just
a
like a
really
burp.
It's kinda like a
It's
burp.
like a burp. See,
Yeah.
I told you, Mother Earth has indigestion.
Yeah. Yeah. So we
She
have a
is
lot
like
of this
that.
ancient lack of self-worth thing, energy coming forward for a lot of people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this really started to crack on Friday, and then I noticed it really big. I mean, not really big as I could feel. I'm feeling the upliftment of it. I'm one of the few that
That's because
are.
you're a Magic Mountain.
I'm over here on a crystal bed, and so
Yeah.
the energy is doing it. I thought that I was like, all of a sudden I wasn't an empath or something because I couldn't feel any energy here. I'm like, I can't even feel like the people that are standing in front of me. And then I realized they're there. It's much more subtle because of the
The mountain
crystal
clearing.
bed that we're underneath, the crystal bedrock. Anyway, yeah, and so the 22nd was, and so what this is designed, what it's designed for is not to harm anyone or put them in disharmony in any kind of way. It's bringing forward like the last little hairs, the last little threads, the things that have been yet to be resolved, and not exactly because it's from lack of desire, just lack of knowing its presence and
Mm-hmm.
what needs to be addressed and how. Um, and this has been largely across the board. This stuff having to do with low self worth, just self diminishing kind of stuff, and like shame, and just like things popping up from way long ago that were like a moment of embarrassment when you were in high school,
Right.
or something
Yeah.
that, right, from so long ago that how would that even affect anything? And these secrets we have kept, and where I'm saying secrets because we usually protect them like a secret.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you're the only one being affected by it, but the
Right.
way that you're being affected is deeply profound. So releasing the secret, the need to hide something most of the time, is also blocking off your telepathy,
And
because
being that I'm so like I'm a filter. So
yeah,
you're like filtering other people's everything that you're explaining that everybody else is going through. I'm affected by it. And I
yeah,
can tell because I'm taking more bathroom trips again. I'm like, oh, not again.
purge.
Bathroom,
The
bathroom,
purge is
bathroom.
on.
Yeah. Okay, make a run to the market to get some more toilet paper. Here we go. Time to stack up. Here we go again. But yeah,
Yeah,
and it makes sense. I'm like, everything was getting bubbled back up. Everybody's, healing and clearing. And meanwhile, I'm over here filtering out all the stuff. Like, come on, guys, get it together.
yeah. It's okay. I mean, we have a couple of layers that because first you purge one layer, and then the one beneath it kind of slowly floats to the top, and then we purge another layer, and then the other one slowly floats to the top. So a lot of people haven't had variety of different kinds of physical purging as well, with that having to do with skin, weird fingernail and hair stuff people have been talking about. This weird thing to do with diet. Diet's not the word, but appetite.
Mhm.
Just all of a sudden dropping and having no desire for food for a period of time. And then all of a sudden, getting the grub back on and like putting on, eating again, and finding the weight of the body that you're in being less than balanced is a way of pushing forward the layers of fat. I didn't know this, and I still have yet to do research to validate it. And I don't typically care to. Um, you all can do it though. Is this is channeled from for a very important purpose to explain that the fat in our bodies contain the densest memory.
Mhm.
Dense is a word used to assign something we won't let go of that didn't
Right.
feel that great. And so, as we're noticing our weight fluctuating, what's happening is these densities are being pushed to the surface. Some of it's coming out in a physical way where people can see the purging of their body on this weird sweat, or like this acne, kind of bubbly, almost blister skin places and rashes and stuff. But
Mhm.
also too, simply just the sensation of old memory coming forward and seeming to invade your space. And then
Right.
another one, and another one, and another one. It almost feels like what people may have in the past called something like a psychic attack, when this
Right.
isn't what it is. It's bringing it up so you can heal it. And it always happens when the light is the brightest, because that means you have the most available to heal that at this time.
And I'm glad you explained about the spiral.
Yeah.
Because then you understand, like, oh, you again. I thought I healed you. Well, good thing I know what to do this time. And then you heal it. You're like, keep it going, keep going. Oh, it's back again. I know what to do with you. I can heal you faster. So
Right.
the first time around, it's harder to heal. But since you understand that, and it'll be back. But at
Yeah.
least you can heal it faster and like don't hold on to it. Don't assign meaning to it. Just heal it and keep it pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And if any of you have the opportunity to go back and watch that video with Dr. Joe and I on his channel, I put a link in the community section of my YouTube channel here. He brought up some really important points that we're talking about right now that we went a little more in depth on some of the methods of what to do,
Mhm.
you know, and it's a universal healing. Um, and I've yet to say this out loud, but I had told Charmony in a random grab of her text that right now we are simultaneously, for the first time ever known to have ever happened, um, stepping up an octave collectively as one. And so what this means when you step up an octave is when you merge with higher self. We've merged with higher selves multiple times throughout every incarnation that we're here. It's just how it works. You know, it's your profound change in mind and body that happens. And sometimes people are the ones that let you know it happened because they notice it and you don't. Usually it's because you're becoming more you. It doesn't feel like you're something different. Um, we're doing this on a global scale right now. And it's really exciting and also terrifying for some energies. And so we're also sensing them.
Mhm.
They're excited, nervous, nervited energy,
We were
you
just
know, is
talking about
really coming in.
she was my Reiki leader was just talking about we were just talking about how it's good things are gonna change. How like the energy certain energies do not wanna like they don't wanna go. So
Yeah,
everything is gonna like try its hardest to stick around. Sorry, your time's up. You gotta
right.
go.
They're just at the end of the funnel, and they don't realize that's these energies.
Mhm.
If you need to assign them in this way, that they are once we let go
Mhm.
and just release and let ourselves, fall basically. When you let yourself fall and let the universe catch you,
Mhm.
then you find out that everything that you need and more is available
You're like,
right now,
oh, look at there.
you know? And some of this hanging on is due to this false belief in an end of life or existence when it's not. It's if you let go, then I can help you.
Right.
But if you don't let go, there's not an ability to do that, not in the way that would be the most advantageous for
Right.
you, and no one's asking anyone to jump off of anything. We're simply saying relinquishing control of the moment that you're in, and then stuff will talk to you.
Right.
Meaning, it's not like, Mrs. Pot in like the Beauty and the Beast, but like what I mean is stuff will talk to you in that all of a sudden a message will come in or something will pop up on your feed or,
Mm-hmm.
and it answers your question. I had exactly down to the last penny the amount that I needed in order to switch my tickets over. I had no idea the level of healing I was getting ready to step into, though I knew I had argued with my higher self while my higher self wasn't even talking to me, and yet talking to the higher council committee
Right.
group people, whatever they are, saying we're going to take on some more trauma to heal. And I was like, no, dude, no, dude, no, dude.
No,
But I couldn't
Lord.
talk. You know how like you just can't make it because you're so deep in trance, you can't. You're just and I find myself using sign language a little bit. It's just like stop and like just and though every moment of that, every step of that, the only reason that it worked the way it needed to work was I said okay.
Real.
I was just like, this is exactly what I needed. Okay. And then when I made that payment, by the way, they never charged me. The guy forgave it at the end. He's like, I'm going to forgive, I'm going to waive this one fee. And my gratitude, I assume, is what moved him to waive the
Right.
whole thing. And so I still had, $600+ in my account. So I was able to
Yeah, I
pay
can.
for other things I needed. So, but it's just amazing. how all of these things work,
Mm-hmm.
and it has more to do with us denying that we are somebody who needs help
Right.
in the way that we mean by that, accepting in the help. Not by I want help by
Right.
of you doing this and do this because that doesn't
And then
work.
I was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't like just if you just let go, it happens. That's like that
Yeah.
day, that morning. I was like, just forget it. Just let go. And then it happened.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, there it is. It just happened.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I was gonna ask you something, but I forgot. That's okay.
There's There's a bunch of comments about, and I'm just moving through. I didn't realize there were so many below. I apologize for having missed all these, but there's a lot of individuals having this flash of energy coming through, and so it'd be useful to bring up something.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's good. It's good. It's not to be weary of or anything like this, but we're here, guys. We crossed the threshold.
Mm-hmm.
We truly crossed the threshold when there was a separation of those that are consciously choosing this plane of existence and those who aren't. On the 11th of January, that was 111. That was Odin Day. That was the day we woke up and felt a lot less people-y out there. Even if you didn't notice there were less physical people there, there's a sense of that occurring. Anyway, so after we passed this threshold, and we've been getting all this information about how strong and important March is. Now I'm getting all this stuff from Sharmony talking about everybody else who've been saying the same thing. That this March that we're, like Bear's basically knocking on the door to, um, is so powerful that we're already getting a lot of the events occurring. And by the way, I was told while I was talking to Dr. Joe to look up what the middle day is in between the corridor of the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse that will happen. The lunar one's on the 25th of March, and the solar eclipse is April 8th. Well, the middle day of that is Easter.
Wow.
And they were like, "Yes, you should look at that because it's going to be like fireworks." I think it's going to be something more than it just being Easter. Easter is a very powerful, and there's a lot of things about Easter. And so this is happening during this. A lot of other people have, their own data finding resources and things. I'm just told this stuff. This is what I'm guided to know and to share out. And all of the signs are written in the heavens as well. There's stories up there right now that are in alignment with the stories I've been looking for all of these years, dude. So, um, because all of this is so powerful, that's why I went on with such a long tangent to explain this, is that um, it is happening all at this time, even though we're still waiting for this window of time to occur. We're feeling we're already here and we're growing in this intensity and this energy. So it's meant to help us. It just sometimes doesn't feel that way. So
Mila, have you heard anything about fives?
lots about fives, actually. Fives are a big deal right now.
Oh, okay, because I just had a flash of a five. And I was like, what's that about?
Mm. The 5-pointed star has been brought up over and over again. I've been meant to find 5-pointed stars, and they're golden stars. And it was kind of like sometimes I get put on a grid work challenge. It's kind of like a pirate map in a playful way. And um, so there is a closing of this 5 that's going to be happening on the 3rd of February. And I'm going to Hot Springs and on the 2nd, on the 2/2 portal on February 2nd. And I'm going to be speaking with, I'm not that great at pronouncing last names.
That's
Um, Kristen Bilecki, I think is her last name, but she's the one that's hosting this, the Unity Conscious event, source embodiment, living and being your true authentic soul. This is what's happening on that day. So I'll be in Hot Springs at the sacred site where the Manataka elders have been keeping the sacred code of the crystal cave here, and this whole awakening rainbow woman journey of the story. And the closing of the 5 has to do with the following day. I just don't know what that means yet. I just know that I've been following this breadcrumb trail with validation after validation until up to this is the last one. So we'll see what it looks like at the other side.
Okay. I
A lot of
gotta
people have been
stay
seeing five
tuned.
lately too.
Oh, CC's out of 555.
Yeah, there's a lot. Sharmony says 555 equals source, unity, and unity. Um, Another translation of 555, I remember earlier on when I would look up what the definition of things, and it resonates or it doesn't. There's angel numbers, and there's also other kind of resources like this. Fives are usually um, indicative to change, and most people um, in this experience have been taught to have some kind of re- they don't enjoy change and change startlement, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't tend to go to that one, but the change of improvement is usually correct for the 5 symbol, and it's some type of completion because in order to get to, so you look at a pyramid, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 is the destination. So if you understand that when you look at things in a quantum way, there's always an extra point. And so that's why people talk about the 4D as a place that's in between, because it was the in between. It was the returning to the completion to get to 5. So
Interesting.
there's a lot of bridges too. There's a bridge between every segue like this. Like when we get up to 9, we notice that we're actually reaching through a couple of different bridges, and these bridge places are usually places that we go. You can call it a rip or a rip in the fabric of time and space, because it's different whole energy there, as if it's like on the other side of the television,
Right.
but this is where we tend to go when we go to astral, and so we can see things more clearly and completely in this place. It's really cool though. But
I haven't been Ashley yet. I think I'm afraid to get stuck.
there's something that's useful to know is that we always have this link to ourselves. There's really, it's like they call it the silver lining or gold lining. Okay, everybody says it differently in different religious groups, but it's
Tether.
basically hmm?
Like a tether to your body.
Yeah, it's a tether. And um I find that in any moment that I need to come back to my body, I need to be very gradual about how I'm asking for it, because if you ask for it, like I'm ready to go back, boom, you're back. And it's just like, well, I
I
kind of
get.
missed part of it, like let's slowly make our way back. And so it's not something to ever be afraid of in this way. You can, and a lot of people will um are very good at talking about these different ways of, like, ensuring that you feel safe is what they're doing. And so if you are putting your energy in a place where you feel safe, then you are,
You will
you
be
know,
safe.
because we
Maybe
call
I
energy
should take
to it.
one advice and let go.
Yeah. Just I mean, whatever feels correct for you. If there's some type of reason that you're, not in a place that you want to look at something, sometimes it's just not time, you know.
It may
That,
just have been like a past life fear, because I can't consciously think of a reason. I haven't. So it
well,
could be a blockage somewhere to where I'm not letting myself go.
yeah.
So I'll just do some more introspection and figure it out.
Yeah, and I would say that we put a lot more emphasis on this astral place than this is the entertaining part of the awakening journey. This is the whoa, you did what? Kind of thing. But in the end of the day, it's not the bee's knees. There's a lot more cool stuff that we do. I kind of go there and go, oh crap, because you wanted to keep doing this part, and like it's really if I'm not start dissuading anyone. I'm just saying those of you who haven't been able to access this skill set as of yet, it's really not you will have the opportunity at some point, and it'll come in when it's meant to. Um, and it's really not nearly as cool as it is to transmute the energy of this earth. like to be able to use this higher way in body. Like that's the cool part. Like you're able to be in a rickety old chamber and still do this thing,
Right.
you know? And so
That,
give yourself the credit where credit's due if you can, because you're kicking ass and taking names, girlfriend.
oh
You
yeah.
know? Yeah. And so there's Source Mate said something. I would like to point it out very quickly. I know we need to get wrapping up in a little bit here, but he says that April 4th through the 12th is a massive igniting into the new foundation of one after the completion of the triad, the creation into divine human consciousness for ions to come. I actually am aware of this. I have the option for anyone who is interested to stay here at this. If anyone's coming to that's coming here would like to stay for this window, I have the tickets where you can buy to stay longer, and that's from I think the 2nd to the 12th, because this is going to be a big window. Though the peak in the middle there, the 8th, is also so that the 4th to the 8th is the other tickets, and it's just a bunch of us here in the line of totality on the Crystal Mountain, or at least at the roots of the Crystal Mountain here, and having this awesome experience with other star seeds and light beings that we've been interacting with for so long, and now we can do it in real life, and have a party, so um anyway, I agree with you. And also there's something local, something else happening nearby that starts on the 12th, or I believe that might be the 13th. There's some type of hoorah, and there's a lot of code in the prophecy of this area for this time, having to do with the Rainbow Woman and the Crystal Cave and returning to this place during the Great Awakening, and that the children, us, meaning we're, the human species, as the children, will be reignited and reminded of how, given the code again, of how to communicate with the star people. This code was left in this crystal cave by the star people, and this cave has been kept sacred and protected for hundreds of years, and so by the local tribal people and
wow.
stuff, and so really cool. Yeah,
I
so
like it. No
if you
wonder
can
you're
come.
there. No wonder you're there.
Yeah.
It's meant
I
to be.
I didn't even know about that last part, though. I just found that out recently. I was like, I had no idea they meant talk about here, where I went to. I didn't know that. I was like, because that was back east someplace. That's all that when you're on the West Coast,
Right.
everything that's past Colorado's back
It's
east,
far.
and that's still called Midwest to most people, but that's all back east, and so Texas was back east, and so I didn't know. And it's been so cool that it just came to me. It's like, oh yeah, and that's where you are, by the way. So
That sounds so cool.
we probably need to get going,
What time
but
is it?
it's 3:09 my time, so that would be
Already?
1:09.
That was fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been on for an hour and 9 minutes almost, but
Oh
this has been
wow.
so much fun. Are you doing anything where you connect with others, or is there a way that you would like to, if someone wanted to talk to you or send you a message, that they could access you, like an email, or
I'm
you
just
don't
coming
have
out the
to?
closet. I just coming out the closet. I don't have any connections yet.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm really happy that you came today. And if you comment, maybe that I'll if you have any questions for Cherokee, and I could draw her attention to it in the YouTube uh, channel, and perhaps she'll answer. If not, um, I
That
just want to
sounds
say thank
terrible.
you. No, not at all. Not at all. I love how open and straight up you are. It doesn't matter. All the stuff that we typically, societally speaking, lie about, the white lies actually are just, yeah, there are too many layers,
Yeah.
man. And so I just thank you so much for coming
Of
today.
course,
This
so
was
thank
fun.
you for giving this platform, this opportunity. I know
Of
everybody
course.
in the comments. This is me. Fat 88, this is me. Thank you, Pam, though.
Thank you. Stick around for a second, Cherokee. After we end this, I can say
Okay.
goodbye to you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you
Thank
all for
you.
coming. We have a comment from Jeanette. She says, "Thank you both. Wonderful love. We love you. Thank you." And again, if you get a chance, you can find it. I'll put it in the link in the description of this video if I haven't done it already, where you can go to this conference that I'm gonna. It's free. The Unity Consciousness event. Excuse me. Source Embodiment, living and being your authentic soul. I'll put this link up for you all to be able to register. It's free. It's a digital event that if you'd like to join in this last step of this grid work for this particular part of the grid work, it'll be a fun little celebration. So I hope to see you all there. And thank you so much.